Okay, what up ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot right here. Hopefully, your favorite official content creator for the First Descendant. And what I'm going to do today is what I promised. I'm gonna cough. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I'm actually going Kaz in the background, listen to this. I'm going to actually give you guys the piercing light build that pairs with Hailey. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, this video is going to be a lot shorter than my other videos because all I'm going to do is explain the piercing light to you and then show you the build, and that's it. This is not a proper build video where like I'm gonna show like in some of the other videos I've done where I only use that weapon to beat the Colossi and stuff like that. That's not gonna happen here. This piercing light was used solely as a supplement to Hailey's sniper build. All right, so if you want to modify it for your own use for other characters, you're gonna have to make the variations yourself. I leave that up to you, but I'm gonna tell you the stats of the piercing light, gonna go through its unique ability, all that kind of stuff, and then I'll showcase it with Hailey, and off we go. All right? Okay. Grand. Let's get started. And before we do, don't forget, if you enjoy my content, register me as your content creator. Link is in the video description. I'd be very grateful if you do that. Okay? Let's get started. Now, for the piercing light, what you need to first understand is the base stats of the piercing light. This thing comes with a lot of firearm attack. 193,437 at base. With a 12.1% weapon option, this pushes it to 216,000. Fire rate, super slow, which is natural for a weapon like this. Rounds per magazine, 6. Reload time, 2.6. Base critical hit rate, 40%. Firearm critical hit damage is 1.2 multiplier, which is really, really low. But if you have a critical hit damage option on it, you can push it up to 1.4. Okay, the attribute status trigger effect, not really relevant here, 33%. Weak point damage, baseline is 2 times multiplier, which again, really, really good. Okay, with a weapon option, this pushes it to 2.23. Penetration, very, very high. Okay, and thanks to the unique ability, its base penetration is super high. Penetration measures the strength of the rounds needed to penetrate the target. Resistance varies depending on the enemy size and determines the strength reduction after penetration. Penetration means this round goes through the target and hits the next one. Yeah. Hip fire accuracy 20, which is pretty standard for sniper rifles. You shouldn't be hip firing. Aim shot accuracy 100%, of course. Effective range 55 meters. Damage drop off modifier is 0.6. So what this means is that no matter what, you will always do 60% of your max damage. The drop off starts at 55 meters, ends at 85 meters. Movement speed 400, 220 when firing, 130 when aiming, natural, and sprint speed 750. Okay, you want to have bonus firearm attack versus Colossus because this is awesome. Now, these are the base stats of the piercing light. Now you understand them. Let's move over to the unique ability. The unique ability of the piercing light is called Purification of Light. Grandoy's name doesn't really have a great effect. Let me explain it. When you hit a weak point, it inflicts Dispel on the enemy with a set chance. When 2 or more enemies are hit by a single shot, there's a high chance to land a critical hit on the enemies while also increasing critical hit damage and applying this buff to the attack. Critical hit damage only goes up by 6%, not very much, and the firearm critical hit rate if you pierce 2 or more targets is 100%. Dispel triggers. The Dispel is guaranteed with the piercing light, so you can actually use this on bosses that have a buff to themselves. If they buff themselves, hit it with the piercing light, that buff is gone. Okay? So in future, if like the Deathstalker comes out, it has a self buff, I'm gonna bring this thing, I'm gonna just pop him one, and there you go. But you have to hit a weak point with the effect, all right? You cannot actually Dispel, even though it's 100%, you cannot actually Dispel without hitting a weak point, so you must hit a weak point, all right? There you go. That is the unique ability of the piercing light. Now, why is this so relevant for Hailey? If you take a look at Zenith, which is Hailey's ultimate skill, your base damage of the Zenith is the same as the equipped weapon. It does additional damage based on your skill power. So the stronger your base weapon, the stronger your Zenith, which is how I completely monster mash my enemies, right? So this is why the piercing light is used. It's got huge firearm attack and it goes absolutely crazy. With shot focus and all the modules I have on it, I have 425,000 firearm attack on this. Yeah. Add to that the critical hit multipliers, and you can see why the damage gets insane. Now, how do you actually build this thing into a beast? Let me remove my camera and I'll go through the modules with you. All right. Standard modules. Rifling reinforcement, action and reaction. 93% firearm attack. This is standard fare. Better insight, better concentration, concentration priority. This helps to push your critical hit damage multiplier to 2.13 and your critical hit rate to 53.2. Now, there is something that I do want to say. The critical hit damage on this thing is low AF. So, I have considered using things like have aiming. Sorry, not have aiming. I have considered other ways of increasing the weak point damage, but to be fair, and I should probably show you this, when it comes to weak point damage, you don't have the same values as you don't have the same values that other weapons have, because your only options for increasing weak point damage is pinpoint shot, which you cannot use together with action and reaction, weak point insight, which increases your firearm critical hit rate together with weak point damage, but focus fire does that already, and it increases firearm critical hit damage, which is really, really nice, so I prefer that. You've got focus fire, which we're already using here. Weak point detection, you could kind of roll with this, but this does not pair with focus fire, so the choice is genuinely yours. Target detection will increase your firearm critical hit damage and weak point damage, but the problem is that I had to use better insight here. And adventurer increases your firearm critical hit rate and your weak point damage. All right, so you don't have a lot of options for buffing up your weak point damage. As it is, I've already got a 5.9 times multiplier on this. Okay, so this is why I still use all of this. Better insight is used in actuality because you want to try and hit a critical rate of 100%. Same principle with Hailey's sniper itself. Yes, I am aware that enemies will have a critical hit resistance. This has been a debate there. I'm not debating that enemies have a critical hit resistance or don't. I am aware that they do. But if you do the testing for yourself, you'll notice that you fail significantly more. And this is because I'm not quite sure how the critical hit rate is calculated, because do they apply the resistance first, or is the resistance applied after? Because quite frankly, I personally feel, again, I have not determined this because it's not information shown in game, but I'm pretty sure it rolls for critical first, and then after that it applies the resistance to see whether or not that rolled critical actually hits, which means that when you don't have a guaranteed crit, it seems to have a problem actually hitting. This was actually tested mostly through observation, because when I actually did my testing, and I did this with Hailey's initial skill, I removed skill insight, and I noticed that although I should theoretically be critting at the same rate based on the resistance of, let's say, 15% or whatever, I was still hitting about 86% critical hit rate. I was still critting a lot less, and I don't know why. So maybe it was just a lot of bad rolls, but we did about 50 runs to test it all up and tabulated it. The failures when I had skill insight and when I had better insight were very few. But when I removed these mods, excuse me, when I removed these mods, I failed quite often. Like, although it wasn't that big of a difference, like say one failure every 30 runs or something, I was getting 4 or 5 failures every 30 runs without these mods. So I'm still a strong believer in reaching that 100% crit rate, and that is why better insight is here. If you want to tweak around or play around with the numbers, by all means you can. All right. With better insight, you will hit a 100% crit rate with Hailey's ability, so don't hesitate to use it. But again, the choice is yours. Okay, there's no pressure on this. The rest of the modules are pretty standard. Focus fire, weak point sight, and weak point expansion are all to buff up the weak point damage. Weak point expansion was the only ultimate mod that I could use on this, because realistically speaking, I thought a lot about some of the other mods like dopaminergic activate, things like that. It just didn't give the same oomph as 140% weak point damage on a weak spot hit, and they've got the same cooldowns anyway, right? Other options were Real Life Fighter. I tried it out, did not work out very well. Strengthened First Shot, when you go into Zenith, this does not trigger. It triggers on a reload, which is so good with the Afterglow Sword and the rest, but it doesn't trigger here. So again, not so sure why, but it just wasn't working out. And basically, that's about it. All right, so this is the build. The most crucial things that you have to have in this build are expand weapon charge and concentrate support ammo. Why do you need these two? Because they will increase your magazine capacity, not for the use of piercing light itself, but for Hailey's Zenith. This gives you seven sniper rounds, and that's what you want. All right. So this is what the build is. This is the explanation for the build, and now let's go into combat. All right. One demonstration will be suitable. Okay.
The space-time fabric of the void.
We'll have a little bit of fun.
Illogical.
Now, I know you guys have seen it on stream, but again, Swamp Walker is usually just the best choice for this, because if you fail with this, he will phase. He phases very quickly. So here's just a quick demonstration. I mean, either way, you've already seen the demonstration yesterday. Maybe today I'll fail and I can show you how he phases real quickly, but we'll see. Either way, the fact of the matter is, this build, you should have already seen it in the Hailey sniper build. Now you know how to build the weapon as well. Okay, I did show a snippet of it yesterday, but hopefully today you guys will get a more thorough explanation. Let's go. As you know, for Swamp Walker, I like to position right here. It's a bit close, but it's okay. You need him to turn. As soon as he turns, 2 shots, he goes down. All right, aim for the shoulder, and he's dead. 6 shots, he's done. So, with regards to this, right, for some people, they actually ask me, if you are solo bossing only, and you don't use this on several of the other bosses, do you really need the 7th shot? Honest answer, no you don't. I feel it helps for the team-based bosses, but some people prefer to put in something extra, or elemental damage or whatever. Elemental damage is not multiplied by weak spot, so please be aware of that. It's only multiplied by crit. So since your crit multiplier is only 2 times, I didn't find it worth it, but if you want to make the variations, the modifications yourself, by all means go ahead. Okay? So that's it. That is the... Sorry, I went into the Descendant page twice. That is the build for you guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Register me as your content creator. Alright, if you haven't already, thank you very much to all of our top tier channel members and all of our top tier supporters. Normally I show the listing, but since this is a Sunday video, okay, I'm going to keep it snappy and quick. Thank you all very much. See you on the next one, and I'll catch you on Monday. Bye!